Across the world, there are thousands of islands. Some are paradise getaways full of sunshine and laughter. Others are desolate, forgotten places with stories buried deep in their soil. But then there are islands that carry something darker. Whispers of screams, shadows that don't belong, and a history so chilling that even the bravest won't dare set foot there. Just a few miles off the coast of Venice, Italy, lies one such island. A small, abandoned patch of land with crumbling ruins, rotting buildings, and an atmosphere so heavy it's said you can feel the sorrow before you even step onto the shore. This is Poveglia Island. To many, it's known simply as the world's most haunted island. And tonight, we're going to uncover its terrifying past, the legends of restless spirits, and the chilling truth of why it remains forbidden to this day. Part 1. The island's dark history. Poveglia's story begins centuries ago. A place that, on the surface, was once just another Venetian island. But history would turn it into something much more sinister. During the height of the bubonic plague in the 14th century, Venice was overwhelmed with death. Bodies piled in the streets. Entire families vanished overnight. With nowhere else to send the sick, officials turned to Poveglia. Ships carried the infected across the lagoon, dumping them onto the island. There was no treatment, no care. It was an exile, a waiting room for death. For those who died, their bodies were burned in massive pits. Historians estimate over 160,000 people were buried or cremated on the island's soil. Imagine that. Almost an entire city's worth of lives extinguished here. Even centuries later, locals claim the earth of Poveglia is still mixed with human ash. But the plague wasn't the only horror. Centuries later, in the late 1800s, the island found a new purpose, one even darker. Part 2. The Asylum Years. In 1922, Poveglia was transformed into a psychiatric hospital. At first, it was meant to be a place of care. But as history shows us, mental institutions of that era were often closer to prisons. Patients were mistreated, forgotten, and silenced. Legend tells of a doctor who worked there, a man obsessed with experimenting on the mind. Patients claimed they were subjected to horrific treatments, crude lobotomies, untested drugs, and brutal methods hidden away in the island's crumbling buildings. Locals say the doctor believed he was safe from judgment on Poveglia, but eventually the weight of his crimes, or perhaps the spirits themselves, drove him mad. One night, he climbed the island's old bell tower. Witnesses say he screamed that ghosts were dragging him down, before falling to his death. Some whisper he was pushed. Others say he survived the fall, only to be strangled by a mist that rose from the ground. Whether true or legend, the story cemented Poveglia's reputation as cursed. Part 3. Paranormal Encounters. Since the asylum closed in 1968, the island has been abandoned. But its silence hasn't kept people away. Fishermen refuse to sail near its shores, claiming voices echo from the ruins. Visitors who've dared to sneak in describe an overwhelming sense of dread. Some faint, others are pushed, scratched, or hear screams in the empty halls. Ghost hunters who brought cameras and recorders left with chilling evidence. Electronic voice phenomena, EVPs, captured voices whispering in Italian. Shadowy figures flickered in doorways. Footsteps followed investigators down hallways, even when they were completely alone. One team swore they heard the old bell tower ring, even though the bell had been removed decades earlier. And perhaps most terrifying, locals say that at night you can still hear the cries of plague victims, coughing, wailing, begging for help. A soundtrack of centuries of suffering that never truly ended. Part 4. Science versus Legends. Of course, not everyone believes in ghosts. Skeptics argue that Poveglia's haunted reputation is fueled by its history. The ruins are dangerous, and the atmosphere is naturally eerie. When people walk into a place knowing thousands died there, their minds can play tricks. Fear, suggestion, and the power of legend can make every sound feel supernatural. Scientists point to infrasound, low-frequency vibrations caused by wind or water that can create feelings of unease, even hallucinations. The strange sensations people feel on the island may be psychological, not paranormal. But if that's true, why do locals still avoid it at all costs? Why do fishermen swear their nets come up tangled when cast too close? Why does Italy refuse to allow visitors, keeping the island strictly off limits? Sometimes legends survive not because they're untrue, but because too many people have seen the same things to ignore. Poveglia Island is only a few minutes from Venice, one of the most beautiful cities in the world. Yet it feels like another universe. A place of silence, shadows, and sorrow. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.